I know it's not even the season when I normally buy seeds, but look what I got in the mail. I didn't just get one. I got 2 packages. Okay, so I normally only do seed orders. Okay, that's not true. I usually do seed orders big time, like in the fall and winter when it's not time to plant seeds. But I also do it like if they have a big sale at the end of the season. However, this was not a sale. It's always a good deal, but it's not a sale. I did do a big sale order from My Gardener. I'm waiting on those because they had a promo for a while. It was a very short promo, and I got seeds for $1 a packet, which is like the olden days. Now you know that they're $2 a packet from My Gardener, which is still a great deal, but they're basically last year's seeds. So that order's upcoming, but I do have 2 packages. So it's a double order of Baker Creek. Like that was really necessary. Confessions of a seed addict. It has been a few weeks since my last seed order. Okay, I've been holding on to these seeds to do a video with you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and crack into, let's do this little one first. Okay, let's see what we have. All right, let's get into this. What do we have? Okay. Ooh, red Rubine Brussels sprouts. I have a daughter who is going to be so excited about these. She loves those Brussels sprouts, those little baby cabbages. Whenever you see this dark red purple color, you know there's going to be antioxidants, and they tend to be more sweet flavored when they're grown in cool weather, which we know about a lot of these brassicas. And it doesn't tell me the days to harvest, which is something that I think Baker Creek should add to their seed packets, which is something that My Gardener does have on his packets. Okay, but it is frost hardy, so I know this is something I should get started soon. The free seeds, woo! I love free seeds. Landis winter lettuce. Cold hardy, incredibly cold hardy Pennsylvania Dutch winter lettuce. One of the most frost resistant lettuces known for winter harvest. That's perfect. It is frost hardy. Sweet. Okay, so that's going to be for my fall garden. New Zealand spinach. Oh, I just showed you guys the New Zealand spinach that I have sprouted from Nikitovka, and I love it so much. I wanted to get it from a few different vendors so I can save seeds from the very best plants. This is a tender perennial, so if you plant it in pots and you take it in before it gets cold, then you can keep these as perennials. And in warmer climates, it could be a perennial. And just like I said, it really helps. It says soak seeds 24 hours prior to sowing. I actually soaked my seeds from Nikitovka for several days, and it didn't harm them at all. But I would definitely soak them for at least 24 hours. And the seeds are really crazy looking. They look like little monster heads or something. It's crazy. Marvelous Mix Mint. So I do have mint on the property, but I always want more. It's just so aromatic and fragrant. It's a perennial in my zone, which is zone 8, zones 4 through 9. Medicinal benefits. It definitely attracts beneficial insects and repels pests. Growing mint is supposed to help prevent rodents. If you have anything on your property that's attractive, like hazelnuts or other things, if you're growing corn, you're going to always have some kind of rodent trying to get to them. I would not say that growing mint would get rid of them, but if there were lots of properties and yours was the only one with mint, maybe they would avoid yours. Surface sow, press gently seeds into soil. And like whenever I grow mint or other herbs from seed, the tiny little seeds, I always surface sow and then just kind of press them down so they're in good contact. And I usually grow them in a Tupperware type container with a lid. That way the moisture stays in until at least they've germinated, and then I kind of play it by ear. All right, and I've noticed that mint grows really nice in the shade or in dappled shade in moister soil. So that's something to think about. And who cares if it invades your yard? Honestly, if you mow your lawn and it smells like a mojito, isn't that a good thing? Black goji berry. Okay, those are going to be super healthy. And I've bought these seeds before, but when I was more, less savvy, I should say. So I'm trying them again. Soak seeds in warm water for 24 hours before planting. Okay, medicinal health food. It says it's frost hardy. I probably will wait until next year to plant these though, because I want them to be really well established before we go into a frost. So that's going to go off to the side. And then we have cucumber rich green apple. I sure would love to have days to harvest on these seed packets, Baker Creek. I sure hope they add that, because it is kind of a pain to have to go back to the post online to figure out how many days it takes to harvest these. So I may or may not have enough time for these. That might go into my next year's pile. Eggplant for sure is going to be for next year. And this is, I can't say that, Gboma. But why did I buy these? I have lots of eggplants. Okay, eggplant relative with densely nutritious bitter edible leaves. That's why I bought them, for the edible leaves. Originally from West Africa, tropical perennial. Okay, so I think I'm going to do this next year in pots so I can keep it as a perennial. It's a little late for now, and I do have a lot of potted plants right now that I'm trying to sort through. I don't want to overrun my house with plants, so I'm going to have, it's already done. It's already run with plants. Okay, but I'm going to do this. So this is the eggplant relative with edible leaves. So gorgeous edible ornamental. So that'd be a nice house plant, right? I'm excited about this. So the flower says stems, leaves, stems, and flowers are edible when cooked. So not raw. 8 to 12 weeks before last frost date. So that means I'm going to be starting probably in February, and then set it out during the summertime, and then bring it back in for the fall and winter. Definitely not frost hardy. Another cucumber, which I'm going to do a lot better on cucumbers next year. That's a family favorite for sure. This is called the Early Fortune. Okay. Dependable, sweet, and almost never bitter. That sounds great. It does need abundant soil moisture and rich soil. So I'm going to be starting some pots, just collecting leaves, doing the lasagna kind of chop and drop layer of dry green, a bit of soil here, a little bit of rabbit manure here and there, and really get pots full of really nutritious organic matter. And then when it's time to plant cucumbers, I'm going to direct sow 1 seed per large container, because I don't want to have to ever try transplanting them again. It's been heartbreaking to have beautiful little plant seedlings, and then you transplant them and they just totally fry up, fizzle out. Cucumbers do not like to be transplanted. So this is something that you should really direct sow next year. So Celosia Asian Garden. Isn't that pretty? And let's take a look. Magenta. It's from Japan. All-purpose pollinator magnet, of course, I'm sure, for cutting, garden design, mixed planters, and more. Prestigious All-America Selection Award in 2017. It has a good branching and bushy habit. And you start this like a month before transplanting after the last frost. So for me, that would be spring break. I love planting things in spring break because I have that extra time. Spoon tomatoes. Oh, these are for the free seeds. And I'm going to plant these next year, probably mid-February, beginning of March. 65 to 70 days, that's excellent for a climate like mine, zone 8, where we don't have as many days. We do have a nice number of days of frost-free, but not so much for tomatoes and other, like, not just nightshade, but like tomatoes, eggplants, tomatillos. Those definitely take longer in this climate. So 6 to 10 weeks before last frost. So I'm looking at end of February, beginning of March. And I'm going to start organizing my seeds. Not just, right now I organize it alphabetically for the most part, except for large bulk seeds. I'm going to start organizing alphabetically, but also by when I have to plant them, because I think that will make me more successful with succession sowing. This is Celtuce. I tried growing Celtuce last year, and I must not have kept the seeds damp enough, or maybe I tried growing them in the heat of summer. So this is growing for the stem, which I think would be really interesting. Green Mountain Celtuce. Jumbo stems that remain crunchy, tender, and juicy as you reach epic proportions. Okay. Spring or fall crop in most areas. So this is going to be in my fall crop planting. And then I did get in one more eggplant in this order. Thai green frog fingers, eggplants. It's an ornamental, but it's edible. Minty forest green color. Abundance. I am looking for plants that are very abundantly producing. Compact and tidy plants. Okay, looks good. No need to cut or prepare, just toss whole into recipes. 8 to 12 weeks before last frost date. So in Washington, Pacific Northwest, zone 8, that's looking at end of February, beginning of March. And I think I'm going to do some kind of stagger my planting dates, even though I'm planting inside, because sometimes they kind of overgrow. My plants that I'm trying early overgrow and then kind of die before it's time to plant them out. But then 2 weeks later, I plant them and they're just fine. And you can't go back in time. So if you don't hit that window just right, you might end up with nothing. So I like to do some eggplants, some tomatoes, some tomatillos, and then 2 weeks later, do some more indoors and then transplant them out after my last frost. So that's my idea. That's going to be for next year. So this is for fall. I think I have enough for now. I think I'll do this for later. This is now. This is later. Let's look at the next seed packet. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding when I purchase seeds, what do I really want to prioritize sowing? And sometimes when I do that, I end up sowing way too much more than I need. So I'm trying to think, if I don't look at that order, what stands out to me? The Celtuce stands out to me. I definitely want to grow that. And I also really want to grow some more of the brassicas. So those are the two things I definitely want to prioritize growing in my fall garden. Now I did also purchase elsewhere some lettuce seeds, and I do want to grow black-seeded Simpson again. I know it's a very standard, not excited, type, celebrated type of variety because it's so typical, but there's a reason it's typical. It grows really well. It self-seeds really well. For years I had it growing almost as a weed because it went to seed and I grabbed the seeds, but some of them fell, and I'd find black-seeded Simpson in the cracks and in the grass. So that's actually a good problem to have, especially going into possible times of food insecurity with the cost of rising grocery bills and just our economy in general. It's a smart idea to start growing a garden if you haven't already. You don't have to be a seed addict like I am. You can buy seeds at the Dollar Tree. You can find a lot of seeds for very cheap, even using some of your seeds from your grocery store. Like when I was first starting, I went to the food co-op and they have an organic beans section where they have soup beans and stuff, the dry beans. And I got garbanzo beans, like pinto beans, orchid beans, tiger eye beans, all kinds of stuff. Now they don't always have all those in stock, and I did look on my phone, like, is this a bush bean, or is this a vining style bean? Because how many days you have. Usually the vining type, that need to be trellis, they usually take longer to produce. Not always, but usually. The bush type usually are somewhat determinate, and you'll get like a big flush of beans all at once. So at this time of year, I would go with a determinate or bush style bean. But that's something you could do. You could have a handful for, cook some up, and then have a handful you save off to the side and plant them in your garden. It's basically free. So lots of great ways you can source your seeds for inexpensive. Also, with Baker Creek, you check your little cart, and as you're adding the seeds, it's varied. It used to be if you spent $10, you got a free seed packet, and then now I think it's if you spend $15, you get a free seed packet, and you also get free shipping. A lot of seed companies actually charge you for shipping, which that could have been another seed packet or a couple more seed packets. So I love going with a company that does not charge shipping unless it's a really rare variety. It's like, why would you go to a company and buy your seeds if they charge shipping, and you're buying black seeded Simpson lettuce that you can buy practically from any seed vendor? So I definitely like to find seed vendors like Baker Creek, and my gardener. I'm pretty sure Nikitovka is free shipping as well. And a lot of companies have, like, if you buy this much, then the shipping is free. Make sure that you are watching the cart and that you're looking to see if you're being charged shipping and things like that. And also do a quick search, promo codes, coupons for blah blah blah. And sometimes you'll luck out and get like a 10% off, 15% off, or like when I did my gardener big order, I got my seed packets for $1 a packet instead of $2 a packet. Or some of the seeds were like heirloom varieties. They were like a special collection. They were a little bit more, but they were still like half off. So now, but you have to remember, have a seed rotation that you're using your oldest seeds first. So like I have several packets now of the New Zealand spinach. I want to make sure I use the New Zealand spinach seeds that I purchased more in the past, because those are going to eventually become non-viable. So their seeds are not indefinitely viable. At some point, the number of seeds that will germinate and sprout will be less and less over time. Now I have sprouted some pretty old seeds, but I did an experiment here on the homestead where I planted some straight neck squash. Oh, it's so loud. There's a plane and a car. So loud, sorry. This is like an urban homestead, right? This is for real. I'm not going to edit it out. But I did an experiment where I planted some 2012 seeds. They were straight neck and yellow neck summer squash, and they did not germinate. And I planted other squash seeds at the same time to kind of see like how many days and do a side-by-side comparison. The 2012 seeds did not sprout. Now, it was worth me planting them. Sometimes if I have really old seeds and I'm not sure, I will, like if I have an empty container, I'll toss them in, put a tag, and just see if they germinate. But I don't anticipate that they will. If I do, it's a bonus. Okay. But I never throw seeds out. You should never throw out seeds. Definitely just like cut a little piece of a plastic cup with a Sharpie marker, write down what it is, and maybe even the year, because that's kind of an interesting thing to remember. Like if you planted something that lasted seeds that were 5 years past the date they're supposed to germinate, then that's kind of something to know for the future. Or you can buy seeds and hold on to them for that number of years. There are all kinds of calendars online that you can look up. They will tell you approximately how long seeds will be viable, and every species is different. There are some seeds that will last a really long time, and some seeds basically you have to plant them immediately or within a certain amount of time, because they lose their viability really quickly. That's especially true, I found, of tropical plants. So in like the Pacific Northwest, a lot of the plants that are native, because they have evolved and grown here, the plant is used to going into a dormancy and then waking up later when the conditions are just right in the spring. But a lot of plants in the tropics, in the tropical areas, they don't have to go through any kind of dormancy. So they haven't evolved to stay in dormancy. So a lot of the tropical plants you want to definitely check to see online. You can just say, like, how long are blah 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 seeds viable? Like pawpaw seeds. You have to keep pawpaw seeds damp and cool until you plant them. If you don't keep them somewhat damp and cool until you plant them, they're going to be dry inside and completely dead. I can tell you that from personal experience. I wasted so much money on pawpaw seeds because I had never experienced any variety of seeds before where that was the case. All of the seeds I had before, you could wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years before you planted them. But with pawpaw seeds and a lot of others, especially things that come from tropical areas. Now, pawpaws are not tropical fruit, but they come from a tropical fruit family. They're related to mangoes. They actually are said to have been brought to that area of like the southeast of the United States, of North America. They are said to have been brought there by mastodons that ate the fruit in a tropical area and went there and did some droppings, and that's how they grew there, and they've evolved there ever since. Because as you know, the continents were once connected in a supercontinent called Pangea. Science lesson. So there are a lot of plants that need to be planted right away. Now my seeds here, the ones I put in the pile, totally fine to plant next year or even a couple years from now. But I really need to work on a seed rotation. That's something that I have failed at so far, especially planting those 2012 seeds. I was like, oh gosh, are you kidding me? I'm sure I planted seeds that were newer since I bought those seeds. So like, I'm sure I have planted so many summer squash packets, and I should have planted that packet before I planted the new ones, and I didn't. So that was my bad, but those seeds are now part of the soil. So it goes back to the earth. And in nature, a plant makes so many hundreds and sometimes even thousands of seeds because in nature, they wouldn't all go to maturity. So when you make a mistake as a gardener, just realize, in nature, they wouldn't have all made it also. So take it as a learning experience and don't beat yourself up. Let's take a look at the other package. I'm excited to see what I got. Sometimes it's almost like I don't drink. It's almost like I got drunk and went online and started buying seeds because I don't remember what I ordered. So this will be a surprise for me too. Let's take a look. Okay, so I just grabbed these out of the packet. And this is new. I haven't received a thank you card before. This is sweet. Thank you so much for allowing us to be part of your garden. And thank you for letting me be part of your garden. Okay, let's flip this over. Thanks for letting me be part of your growing journey. It's been my pleasure to pack your order. From Lena. Ooh, here's seed packets. Free Landis Winter. So I've gotten that before. But you know what? It's time for a salad. So that will be for this year. Got some more spoon tomatoes for next year. That's the free ones. Don't complain about free, you guys. I've heard so many people complaining whenever they get the second. If you make your orders close to each other, you're going to get the same free seed varieties. If you wait a couple months, you'll probably get a different seed variety. But if you make a lot of orders, you're likely to get duplicates. So don't whine. This order got 2 seed packets because I spent more than $35. I do want to plant more of this. I'm not sure how to say this. Tronchuda, kale. It's a Portuguese kale with fleshy leaves and flavor that is more cabbage-like than other kales. I'm looking for that. That's good. And it says it's more heat tolerant. Or fall. It says best grown in frost of spring or fall. So a lot of brassicas, the brassica family, planting in cold weather is okay to do. So I'm going to plant this year. That my this year pile, my next year pile. Eggplant. Why did I buy more eggplants, you guys? This is the same thing. Nutritious, bitter, edible leaves. The stems, flowers, and leaves are edible when cooked. So that's next year. I guess, I mean, I swear I don't drink. Chinese, maybe one drink. I don't drink and then go seed order. That's crazy. Celery, Chinese pink. Bubblegum pink celery from China. So this is something it needs 8 to 12 weeks ahead of last frost date. So I'm going to wait to the side here. And I am growing some Chinese white celery as a weed. And I'm going to collect seeds from my Chinese white celery because it's definitely doing well here. So I'm thinking the Chinese celeries are really good for my climate. I'm finding that a lot of plants grown in Russia, China, Ukraine, those areas, the seeds and the plants do really well in Washington State. Is it D'Elm celery? Not sure. I haven't grown this type before. 85 days. Surface sow. Okay, so this is going to be another next year. Ooh, that's right, cauliflower. I love this Romanesco. It's so pretty. I tried planting it before from some other random company, and they didn't sprout. This is definitely an heirloom. It has the Fibonacci sequence, like pine cones and pineapples have that Fibonacci sequence too. It's like that spiral that you'd see like in a chambered nautilus. It's very ornamental. Midsummer for fall harvest. I'm kind of pushing it a little bit right now, I think, but I'm going to plant this. Not all of them. And I don't need to plant 50 seeds. I have to stop doing that. I often plant way more than I need. Okay, so this is a green cauliflower. Direct seed outdoors 6 to 8 weeks before last frost date. And again in midsummer for fall harvest. Prefers cool conditions. Okay. Definitely going to grow some of that. And I've grown purple of Sicily before, and it is definitely fun to grow. It looks like kind of like it has like a disease because it's like not all purple like the confetti type is. But the purple of Sicily, it's delicious. And after I harvested the heads and ate them, they were so yummy. I fed the leaves to my chickens, and they were just so over the moon happy about that. So I'm definitely going to grow these. I'm going to grow them very, very soon, like in the next couple of days. And the Jessie cauliflower, I'm going to plant some of that. This kind of has that Fibonacci sequence too, but not as much as the Romanesco. Plant some of those. Amazing cauliflower. One of the easiest varieties to grow. It also says it has self-blanching heads. So the ones that aren't self-blanching, you have to actually pull the leaves up when the head forms. You pull the leaves up and like tie it together or clip it together so that the flower doesn't turn yellow. And that's just a cultural thing. We like the cauliflower to be white. That's why I like to get other colors, because I don't have to worry about having to pin up the leaves. But this one says it's self-blanching. And so I'm going to try those two. We're going to do a comparison, see what's the best. Got some more. Lots of different varieties. Chinese cabbage golden beauty. 55 days. Yes, we're going to plant this. Plenty of time. Some broccoli, and this is the kind, oh, these are so expensive. I went to, what's that store? Thriftway. Thriftway is not a thrifty store, by the way, you guys. Thriftway is for the rich elite. I don't know. I went in, they didn't have a price by the little florets. And I brought it to the front, and they're like, this is $15. And it was like literally just like not even one person serving, because I just wanted to try to see how it was like. And I was like, oh, we'll put that back. My kids are so embarrassed. But I was like, I'm not paying $15 for like one serving of broccoli. So I'm going to plant it because it's super expensive. 55 days to maturity. Definitely going to do this. And you're going to actually eat the stalks. And it says it tastes like asparagus and broccoli, but sweeter. Broccoli-like plant. So definitely going to grow that this year. Gonna grow some collards, which I can't believe they're not more popular in the north, because have grown the Georgia Southern collards before, and they are very good. I like it more than cabbage. Okay, it's tolerant to heat and cold. That's so versatile. It does like to have fertile soil. If your soil is really poor, the leaves will be really small. So you want to have fertile soil. Early fall or for late fall harvest. Okay. Gonna grow that, but a little bit later. And got some broccoli. This is a standard type, Waltham 29. Everyone's heard of that, I'm sure. Side shoots. So once you take the big head off of it, you'll get abundant side shoots, which are much smaller, which is kind of like the fancy stuff that you get 2 to 4 weeks before last frost date, and again midsummer for fall harvest. So now is a good time to plant them for maturing into the colder weather. And I do have another broccoli here. Calabrese green sprouting broccoli. Italian heirloom. 5 to 8 inch heads and many side shoots. That's awesome, because then you don't just have one head, you actually get some more going on. And then again, I like to give the leaves to my chickens so nothing gets wasted. Okay, so early purple sprouting, and that's pretty. Isn't that pretty? A buttery, soft, and nutty flavored overwintering broccoli from the UK. Perfect. That's a great, anything that grows in England is going to grow, or Great Britain is going to grow really well in Washington State, in Oregon, probably a lot of other places at a similar longitude. Give me a second, I have to remember. Latitude. Okay, I think. All right, so anything that's a similar area of the globe in the same hemisphere, like northern or southern hemisphere, they often have similar growing conditions. So, listed in 1793, so it's very historical. That's awesome. It says it needs overwintering to produce florets. So, let's see. Needs overwintering to produce florets. Direct sow in midsummer for florets the following spring, which is called the hungry gap. I never heard that terminology before until I started binge watching gardeners from England. But they call that time between winter and when you start planting and getting your first harvest, they call that the hungry gap. And so they plant the early sprouting broccolis, they plant them this year to harvest next year. So planting midsummer of this year and harvesting in the following spring of next year. So that's great, you know. So I'm definitely going to be planting these, and I'll make a note for myself that my harvest is next year. Otherwise, I might get confused and try harvesting it too early. But I'm excited about these. So I have a lot of brassicas I'm going to be growing in my fall garden. Cauliflowers, Romanesco, Collards, you know, all kinds of cold, hardy type vegetables and green leafy greens. So you gotta do it, and then make sure that you don't grow tomatoes and things like that need to be planted in the warmer weather. So I organized my seeds into 2 piles. This is for next year, and this is for this year. I don't know what it is about opening seed packages like this, but it's like Christmas. It really is. It's like it's Christmas to myself. How much did I spend? Let's take a look at my receipts. Okay. Transparency. All right, how much did it cost? So the first seed order that had the flowers and mint and goji berries and Celtuce and cucumbers and all that stuff, I ended up getting, let's see, 12 packets. They range from, the 12 packets include the freeze, So they range from free, I got the free seed packet, 2 free seed packets, and I got like the lettuce, the Celtuce was $3, the New Zealand spinach was $3, the Brussels sprouts were $3.50, mint $3.50, cucumbers were $3. Is it celosia? Is that celosia or colosia? The flowers, they were $4. My most expensive seeds in the packet, or eggplants, were $4 too. My most expensive seeds in this packet were $6 for the goji berries. So I got 12 seed packets for $36.50, and then after tax, $40. So honestly, I'm gonna tell you, I think this is a good deal, even though it's $40 on seeds, which I really don't need. I have a lot of seeds, but I don't get my nails done anymore ever since they went up in price. I used to occasionally go and get a manicure for $12, and now they're just like $40-50 just for a basic manicure, and I would just do it for self-care, you know. For my birthday or Mother's Day, my daughter and I went out on my bill and got pedicures, and I think it was like $50 or $60, and I wouldn't have done it if I knew how expensive it is now, because the pricing on there, they're like, oh, do you want to do this? It's $10 more. You want to do this? It's $5 more. So for $40, this is all of those in the first packet. That's a lot of joy for me. There's a lot of experiences, time out in the garden that is buying for me. I can also give seeds, some packets of things away from as gifts, which is also money saving and getting groceries. So it could produce a lot of food for $40. So it's bringing me joy. I'm getting some things that I just really like, you know, like I'm getting the mint, a cup of, if I wanted to go get a glass of, you know, cup of tea somewhere, that's going to be $4 or $5. So for 1 cup of tea, I'm paying for a whole packet of seeds, which there are lots and lots of seeds, and they also spread. So I feel like that's okay. And then the other package, the bigger one, you know, I got free seeds in there. How many free seeds? I got 2 free seeds in there. So I should have actually broken that into 2 orders. Or remanaged what I bought in each order, because I could have gotten more free seed packets. But all the cauliflowers and broccolis and kale, I went crazy on brassicas. I was having a brassica day. I spent, with tax, $58.11, and I got 18 seed packets. So I had a total between the 2 orders, let's see, 10, 20, 30 seed packets. So 30 seed packets, and I spent $108. So for $108, which is how much a manicure costs, actually it can be like $120 for a manicure. And ladies who get manicures, they're doing that every 3 weeks, and I don't do that at all. So this was my order from July 16th. I haven't done another Baker Creek order since then, so that's been 2 weeks, and I spent less than a manicure, so I can justify it. Anyway, so this is my addiction for sure, but I use all of them, you know, eventually, or I gift them. I, you know, start plants, trade plants with other people. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so enough justifying my seed order. I spent $108. I got 30 seed packets, all the brassicas I'm going to need to grow. And I really probably don't need to buy another seed packet for the rest of my life. And if SHTF really happens, we can grow all of our own food. Like my entire city. All right. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode. Subscribe.